and welcome in to Talkin Track. This week we are recapping Sunday's Richmond race. I apologize for not getting this out on Monday the 4th. I was feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday, so here we are on Tuesday the 5th recording. Will the Toyota shine? Capped it off with a win by Denny Hamlin. He played the best pit strategy. What did you think?
Oh man, I wasn't too happy on that one. But yeah, this is a track where the Toyotas were dominant. No matter, I learned that from you, and this is my first year of NASCAR seriously, and I'm just going off of performance this year. And I thought the Stangers were gonna have it all. I thought the Mustangs are gonna have it. And we had Ryan Blaney. He has won the last three poles and still hasn't won a race. But yeah, I don't. He needs to get. He's doing all right. But yeah, the Hamlin's pit, that was yeah, they kind of jumped the gun on that one a little bit. There was no rule against that. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The right side tire changers, like they were already like out on the right side of his car before he even pulled up, and they just jacked her up and went. And they said there was no rule against that. Because they kind of start running out when the car like slides in, like they slam on the brake and slide about 5 feet. But yeah, his pit crew was already like in position, and they just whipped off his tires and sent him on his way. And yeah, apparently Joe Gibbs heard me last week talking crap about the bro Yodas, and apparently sent a bunch of them to win. And this happens to be a track favored by Toyota and some of the veteran drivers. Um, yeah, it was a great race. Kind of a yawner. I'm gonna honestly say I didn't make it through the whole race, so awake. But yeah, I think I got enough information now to do this. But yeah, Hamlin really got her. We had Kurt Busch starting off, and his car just immediately took a dump. I don't know, something with the fuel pump or fuel line was clogged or something. I mean, just right around the first corner, he was already down. So I was like, oh, not looking good for the Toyotas, but yeah, they killed it. That just happens to be a week before I talk trash and give the pacifier award to Mr. Gibbs, and we got ourselves a Toyota victor. So that was incredible. We still had we had some Fords up there. My prediction last week was Fords were going to win the short track. I'm just going off of performance of the new cars this year, and Fords haven't disappointed. They've been quiet a couple weeks. Daytona, we had Cindric winning, but it seems like 2 or 3 weeks after. Well, no, we had Phoenix.
Yep, Briscoe
And
won in Phoenix.
we had Briscoe, and he actually brought the same exact Ford for the Phoenix race. And I thought, oh, he's gonna take her, but no, he was racing really well. But it wasn't him and Elliott kind of in a little mild collision there that kind of set him back a little bit. But tell me about that one.
Yeah, Elliott and Briscoe got into each other middle of or I can't remember if it was late in the first stage or middle of the second stage. But yeah, Elliott and Briscoe made contact. Elliott got out of it okay. Briscoe did not. He dropped clear back to about 28th. He was able to battle. He battled his way back, finished, I think it was 14th he finished, and he put together a good race for what he had to deal with there. But yeah, back to the Toyotas, Joe Gibbs Racing. I guess I'll get to them a little bit, but let's talk about Kyle Busch's tape penalty. They penalized him in the middle of the last stage, and we we heard Kyle Busch's radio, his radio chatter with his team, and he goes, "Are they serious? That's been there for 200 laps. Are they really posting me for this just now?"
200 laps. I mean, I didn't really study up on like what the problem was with the piece of tape there. I really didn't know, but 200 laps go by before them officials decided to call it. It's like, bro, wake up a little bit there. Geez, yeah. Then yeah, what do you do? I'd do a pass through, right?
Yep, he ended up serving a pass-through penalty, and he was not very happy about it. Obviously, that's the way Kyle Busch
And
is. But yeah, if the tape was truly on there for 200 laps, it makes me wonder why they'd penalize him. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me there.
he's been having a rough year a little bit. He's been racing good, but it's either his car just kind of fighting his car, or we had an incident like Sunday where 200 laps go by before they decided to call it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted the Fords. I wanted to make the correct prediction here, but he was racing. He was racing fantastic, and like everybody else in Truex, Truex won the stage 2. Suarez did pretty good. I think he got hit a couple times, but he saved himself. But we had Truex for stage 2. Kind of a veteran driver there, but yeah, the Toyotas were killing it. But yeah, both the Bushes got screwed. I mean, Kurt right off the bat, it wasn't even his fault. Someone I didn't catch what it was. Something with the fuel,
Yeah.
wasn't getting any fuel or anything, and they just kind of towed her off. And he did come back. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I said Kurt's been kind of having a rough year with the cars, but he always seems like he finishes a race. But he was many laps down, but he's still back racing. There's some drivers that just get their cars totaled, but he's having more mechanical issues. But he's been on the track every single time they fix his problem. So I wouldn't say he's totally unlucky, but that was a totally unlucky thing to happen to him, like right in the first turn, just driving right off. So.
Yeah, it was definitely a bad deal for Kurt Busch, and we'll get to the other group of Toyotas, 2311 here in a little bit as well. I mentioned that Ross Chastain finally cooled off. He traded paint with Ryan Blaney. He's not making too many friends out there. Last weekend at Coda, where he bumped AJ Allmendinger into Alex Bowman to win the race. This week, or Sunday's race at Richmond, he gets into the back of Ryan Blaney. Later in the race, Blaney sends him up the hill, kind of, a little bit of payback there. Short track racing, but Ross Chastain, I think he's got to be a little more careful with all these guys he's bumping lately.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Chase Elliott too. He kind of sounded like Earnhardt Sr. He goes, "I'm not here to make friends with drivers. I'm here to win." So he says, "If anybody gets in my way, you're just going to get out of the way." And that's the thing, though. It's not like you got to do a little bumping. It's a little exciting there. It's not like you're parked and you're just telling the drivers, "Come on, let's go." Past me. But Ross has had a heck of a run for the last pretty much since the start, by Daytona, not Daytona, but he's been in the top 10, even top 5 for the last like 4 or 5 weeks. I ain't too specific on that, but finally one race. Okay, so it looks down for Ross and Mr. Larson. We are up.
Yeah,
Pretty solid.
Larson's stock definitely went up after Richmond. He found his groove after a pretty rough stretch. He nabs the top 5 at Richmond. Well, that's got to feel good as a Larson fan.
Yeah, I was first time in a race that I didn't get upset about it. Geez. I was actually kind of starting to get used to it. I figured, like last week or the week before, it's like, God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen now? Most of the stuff wasn't his fault. All getting caught up in wrecks that weren't really not really his fault. But and then we had Phoenix. That was one of his engine, yeah, because that was the Valvoline car. That's going to make 3 appearances this year. We talked about this earlier.
Yep.
I believe like Bristol, Dirt, and I don't remember what the other one I said.
Nashville.
But that's going to come next. Nashville. Yep, Nashville. 1 in June. So they sure going to sponsor him 3 times this year. So the first time didn't go so well. He blew a valve spring in his car. Just took it down pit road, and they just called it. But I love that car. I'm not going to go into issues because we kind of talked about sponsorships. Like I was like, man, I wish he had a kind of a killer car. But to me, about Larson's car, seeing the HendrickMotors.com, you just see it so much. You just kind of get used to it, But there's a lot of drivers with cooler cars. My favorite car, this Mr. Stenhouse's Sunny D, and that was racing on Sunday. So I was watching more of the Sunny D car than I was Larson. But yeah, Larson with the top 5. It's kind of giving me a good feeling, but I'm after all these weeks of bad luck, I'm kind of sketchy for Sunday. But I just hope he gets top 10. Like, yeah, just you're not a big Larson fan, but he can make his way from the back of the pack to the front in a hurry. So that's if nothing bad happens. But he's one of the drivers, not winning everyone like last year. He had a heck of a year last year, but This year's kind of been unlucky, but the one thing that I still see good in him is going from the back of the pack to the front like a champ, just passing cars, zooming into them drafts like that. He seems to be knowing what he's doing there. So hopefully things start turning around when playoffs start coming. I mean, this was me talking on my end that we can snag a couple of playoff wins, or at least top 5 anyway, to get some of them stage points. But yeah, that's about it for Larson. That's kind of the update on Larson this week. But
Yeah,
top 5, I'm so happy.
you mentioned his ability to work his way up through the field. He started 21st on Sunday, and that, that just proves your point. He starts 21st, he ends up 5th, whether it's pit strategy or not. In this case, it, was a little bit of both driver talent and pit strategy. He was able to get up through a field where it looked difficult to pass. It was hard to pass on Sunday, and Kyle Larson did it without any issues.
Oh yeah, just like I sent it like back to Phoenix where he had the 150-foot dog leg, and this track did not have a dog leg, so it was just pretty straightforward track. And yeah, from 21st 21st to 5th, he's kind of sneaking up there along the day. Always worried about mid-pack collisions and stuff like that. He always seemed to got caught up in, like in a Circuit of the Americas, kind of went outside with Logano there. And speaking of Logano, what happened in his pit that kind of took it? Because he was actually starting to make his way to the front. I think he was almost in second place, or he was going for Hamlin. Or I don't know if it was. I think him and Truex were kind of battling now. That's kind of a first for Logano. I mean, Logano's been there all year long. Like, he's just kind of been there in the top 15. He's just been there. But I thought, like, oh man, Logano's gonna surprise me here a little bit. But he got into his pit, and I totally really didn't understand that. Something about his like left, or some of his tires, like the shocks in his tires weren't going down or something like that. It was dipping.
Yeah,
I don't quite remember.
Logano had a strong car on Sunday. He was running top 5, top 10 all day, and like you said, it was a late pit stop that cost him big time. I didn't really catch what happened either. I thought what had happened was the jackman dropped it before they got the tires on, so they had to jack it up from the back to get the jack under the side so they could put tires on. But I don't think that's what happened either. But it was
actually. Keep going.
It was a total mess there for Joey Logano on that pit stop.
I think I remember now. Going back, I think the jack actually broke. I think it got stuck. Like, it wasn't. You didn't drop it, because I think the jack got stuck, so they had to go from the rear, jack it all the way to the top so they can slide that jack out from under there, because they had to get the second jack. I think that jack broke, if I remember right. So it was stuck, but it looked like his car was on the ground, but it was like stuck underneath the car, and they had to go from the butt end of it to jack it up. Because he had to make. I think that's might have been because he made an unsuspected like pit stop there. I think there was a problem with his tire first, that it was sagging. It was kind of eating out of the quarter panel just a little bit. I think they were going to make a wedge. They needed to make a wedge adjustment because it was starting to eat away his quarter panel, and also that on top of it, I think the jack broke too on the left side, and that's when they had to go to the back and jack it up. And I was like, man. He was running so good there. But yeah, that was, I really didn't understand that. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. But I think that's what happened, because I know he pitted unsuspectedly, because he was really hauling some major butt there for chasing Truex there for a while until he just pitted. And I was like, well, there goes Logano for the day. He always does something to get himself back. But
yeah, that pit stop was just a total disaster. I mean, they debuted the next gen pit stop, and Kyle Busch's team set the record for fastest 4-tire pit stop in NASCAR history. It was sub 10 seconds. I think it was 9.4 something for the next gen pit stop. And I think that's what you were talking about, where the guys were over the wall on the sides of the car. It's almost like an F1 stop where they are able to change the tires. They were able to get in position before the driver enters the stall. So the next gen pit stop that's something that they just debuted this weekend. It was the first week for it, and Kyle Busch's team set the fastest time with a 9.4 pit stop.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, and they didn't say those for Hamlin. Yeah, they kind of did that. Yeah, is that what you're talking about, like that fun style where they're all just standing there? Because they said there was no rule against that. They they were all the way on the right side, and when he pulled in there, they just shoved the jack under, and there was no penalty. I was kind of upset about the fact that when the right left, I'm going to go into this, and you're probably not going to like it. On the front right tire changer. And then I think I kind of checked it out in the NASCAR rule book. You can, unfortunately, on my end, the tire can slightly roll across the pit line, but it is not supposed to bounce. And which it did. It was like bouncing like this across the line, and I was like, "Come on!" But I figured it was slacking thing, but it says it's not supposed. They took away actually a long time ago. They changed the. They were supposed to like I forget, like 5 years ago, they had the arm length rule where where the right side had to roll the tire to the wall,
Right.
but they got rid of that this year. You can roll it, but you're supposed to have zero bounce at all, and the tire was just like bump 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 right into Ty Dillon's pit box. I'm like, that shouldn't that be a kind of like a technical interference, because it ended up brushing one of his Jackman's legs a little bit, and I'm just like, Chris Buescher got the same thing on Truex's pit stall, and he wasn't even in there. But I
Did
don't know. I could be.
did Busher get penalized?
Yeah, I remember he had to do the pass through because his tire rolled into Truex's pit stall when he wasn't even in there. And here comes Ty Dillon just rolling in when his tire was bouncing over. So Hamlin's guy behind the wall was like reaching way over into Ty Dillon's pit stall, trying to grab that tire. And I'm just like, that don't look right, man. You should call that, because otherwise we would have had a Ford win, or we would have Harvick. I don't know if I'm just being a sourpuss with the Fords, but also another thing on my end is giving Gibbs a pacifier award. It sent the Toyotas to win. So I think I'm kind of winning on both ends there,
Yeah.
because I talked
Yeah,
trash about Toyotas last week. And I'm a Toyota fan, though, but Toyota drivers have not been totally with it this year, just the cars. But you know what I mean. But we had a Ford in second. It's kind of like our friendship, man. And you got the Toyota in first. You love Mr. Bush and the Toyotas, and I'm a Ford. I'm not really. I'm more of a Dodge man, but but we had a Ford in second place, so I couldn't really be too upset about that. If we didn't have any Fords in the top 10, I'd be like, oh, come on, because the way they raced at Phoenix was incredible. But yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that could have helped Harvick win that race was they were coming down to about 6 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin was coming up on a lap car, Eric Almirola, Harvick's teammate, and instead of Almirola throwing a block on Hamlin to let Harvick catch him, Almirola just got out of the way instead of blocking to help his teammate. And I saw that happen. I was like, what is Almirola doing? Should he not be trying to help Harvick win the race? He just pulled out of the way. And if he hadn't done that, it would have been a really interesting race, because we would have had probably a last lap battle between Harvick and Hamlin. So I don't know why Almirola just pulled out of the way for Hamlin. That was another thing that I thought Harvick could have won the race by.
Yeah, I know. So that's the thing I'm not seeing too much of, is a teammate winning a little bit. We've seen a little bit from what was it, Ross? I think it was Ross and Byron, where I think they kind of threw a block on. Who did they throw the block on? I don't even remember which race this was. I think it was not Las Vegas. Man, I'm having a brain fart right now. It was what's the one they repaved?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, it was Atlanta. It was Bubba Wallace was trying to get in there, and I think when that was one of them, Byron was leading, and I think Ross was up there, and they were kind of throwing blocks on Wallace there. I know they're not teammates, but like that's what I wanted to see more of, or when Larson accidentally sent Chase into the wall in that one race.
Right, at Auto Club.
Yeah, Auto Club. His spotter was just, I believe his spotter was just not paying attention. But yeah, we want to see some more teamwork. Like, I think teamwork could have paid off for Harvick on Sunday's race, like a little bit of teamwork to kind of throw some blocks and stuff. But yeah, just got out of the way, and it's just like, come on, dude, what are you doing? Like, we could have had a Ford winner if, I think this team's got to work together just a little bit, but I could be wrong. It kind of seems like almost every driver for himself to get those stage points, but not stage points, playoff points and stuff. But maybe we got two, I think. Bowman's not a Hendricks, right?
Yeah, Bowman drives for Hendrick.
Okay, so we had three Hendricks. Yeah, we had three Hendricks in the top 10 on Sunday. So we had Byron in third, Larson in fifth, and Bowman in eighth. So I'm actually pretty happy with this race. So I'm not too upset at Toyota won, but I wanted the Forge to win. I'm going to say that all night long, but I'm pretty happy we had a good amount of Hendricks drivers in the top 10. So I think we both won on this one, though. I'm not going to start any brawls.
Well, I think that's a good point to get into our awards for the week. Will, do you have a cold beer for any driver this weekend?
That's a good one. I should go Hamlin, but I'm gonna give the cold beer award to I wish it was my boss, Mr. Richard Hendricks, for having 3 drivers in the top 10 and probably went home smiling after that. And I could give it to Larson for getting the top 5. We got one award, we got one beer, a driver and an owner. I'm gonna go Larson for top 5 finish for 4 weeks of waiting around for him to win. So I'm gonna give cold beer to Kyle.
I like that decision there. He really has had to grind it out. He's still trying to find his groove, and it really looked like he looked like last year's Kyle Larson a little bit on Sunday. But I got to disagree with you on my cold beer, man. It's got to go to the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. All 4 of them in the top 10, and one of them picks up the win. All of them led the race at one point or another. It looked like Christopher Bell was going to win it. It looked like Martin Truex was going to win it, but Denny Hamlin took it from all of them. So I think the JGR guys have to win this week's cold beer award, especially after you motivated them to it last week by giving them their pacifier.
Yep. So pacifier. Maybe this person will win. Actually, I don't know if I want to give the pacifiers to the poor performance of the NASCAR officials on Sunday for letting 200 laps go down before they call the penalty. And I'm still going to go Hamlin, tire changer, bounce the tire out of the pit and into Ty Dillon's pit stall. But I'm just going to let that one be bygones, be bygones. I'm thinking, yeah, the NASCAR officials are Blaney for winning I think 3 poles now and not winning a race. But I don't think he's too upset. But I'm going to go NASCAR officials on this one. I mean, we can't have upset car owners because all the car owners now, I think, pretty much have a victory. I think stuff for like Roush Fett, Keselowski and all of them. But all the big wigs in NASCAR got at least one victory now. So I'm not crowning any big car companies. I'm gonna go with NASCAR officials for a terrible Sunday race.
Yeah, it seemed like a struggle for the officials on that. The penalty for Kyle Busch that may have costed him a race. The penalty that could or could not have been. It's kind of a toss up for Denny Hamlin's tire changer. I think my pacifier this week is going to go to 2311 Racing. Kurt Busch made it 5 laps, like you mentioned, and lost power. He couldn't get it rolling. And then Bubba Wallace with another really iffy run. So that's a couple straight weeks where these guys haven't been able to get the job done. But their co-owner, Denny Hamlin, got the win. So that soothes it just a little bit. With Martinsville coming up, I don't know how these guys are going to do. I do expect the Joe Gibbs Toyotas to continue their power into Martinsville. So, Will, what do you think is going to happen Sunday at Martinsville? Any driver you got your eyes on?
I might possibly do. We got them all in the Big Ten. I believe it's gonna be. I hate to say, no, I don't want. Why I say I hate the Toyotas? I don't hate the Toyotas. Just I'm just a Hendricks guy. I got my own war side here. But after a little research, and I do think Toyotas might have it. Truex Jr. was last year's victor at Martinsville, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna do it again. We had Chase Elliott in second place, Hamlin in third, Willie B in fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, Joey Logano in sixth, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick. Kind of the big names there. It's kind of figure. But so far we have 9 races and 9 victors. So are we going to have a same victor or are we going to have a new victor? But Truex doesn't have a victory yet, so it's just going to be a tough one. Oh boy, I would say Elliott, but his pit crew has been kind of a letdown this year, so I'm not going to bang too hard on Elliott. He should have won Circuit of the Americas, but also then too his pit crew kind of screwed him out of positions there. But I'm just gonna go Truex this time. I like Truex. Hopefully he's got the best Pro Shops car warmed up. I did like his last week's car. It's just kind of weird. You see drivers drive the same cars for a while, then they change paint scheme, just like but yeah, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go with some Toyotas this Sunday, and I'm gonna go Larson again, maybe fifth. I'm gonna go top 10 at least, hopefully, and I'm gonna go Truex. Hopefully, you can get a top 5. Maybe Kyle. I don't know. Hopefully, Kyle can get his win here. Isn't like last Sunday supposed to be his track or something, but kind of got screwed on 200 laps. But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for Kyle, Truex. Oh yeah, 2 Kyles, Busch and Larson there, but I'm gonna keep a lookout for them 3. So who are you thinking?
You read my mind there. I don't think there's a driver that gets around Martinsville better than Kyle Busch. In his 33 career starts at Martinsville, he has 17 top 5s. Over 50% of the races he's run at Martinsville, he's finished in the top 5. But you mentioned Martin Truex Jr. He's won 3 of the last 5 at Martinsville. So I think both of these guys are safe bets this Sunday. But I'm going to go with Kyle Busch, and he's going to get his name in the win column this weekend.
I agree on that. Like Truex and Busch, they're unlike Elliott when you said Circuit of the Americas when he's won like 5 of 8 they ran. But Chase's pit crew has been kind of not with it this year. But it's the same with it's more of Busch's cars. He usually kind of gets a little hothead going on there when something ain't working right, and he's probably about a 5-minute radio conversation with them screaming. But it seems like their pit crews are really on top of it. They have Truex really doesn't have any car problems. He wrecked at which
Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, he wrecked at Phoenix, hit the wall, but he's not big on crashes. He's got a good pit crew. He's got good cars, especially when there's tracks. But so that's kind of why I'm gonna be a little bit strong when you say that. Kyle and Truex, this might be their track. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure you're gonna go for Kyle. But if you go for Kyle, I'll take Martin. But they have pretty solid cars and a pretty solid team, and yeah, they have some pretty good victories. Unlike we'll go and bank on Elliott Circuit of the Americas, but this big downside was this pit crew, and I believe that Truex and Busch have a great pit crew. They have great cars, pretty good veterans at this track. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be a little bit more solid than the Fords than last week. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Truex and Busch. I think probably the same for you, unless you got another one you want to toss in there, but.
No, I think those are my 2 picks. I'm going to say if you're going to gamble on this week's race, I'd stay away from Chastain. We know that Martinsville is a track where tempers flare. Last year when Alex Bowman dumped Denny Hamlin to win the race and Hamlin called him a hack and there was this whole big affair. We know that Martinsville is a place where tempers flare. And what I've seen in the last couple of weeks is Ross Chastain ain't making any friends. So he's going to have a tough time. It's going to be sink or swim for him. He's going to have to watch his butt.
Yeah, I'm not going to bank too much on Ross. He never really raced circuit tracks, but he won that one. But as kind of a little research, it seems like Truex and Busch is like this, like the last 2 last weekends, and this weekend's kind of their stomping ground. So if Ross is going to win, he's going to have one heck of a battle trying to get in first place. But I can't really say where he's going to place, but I want to go Kyle. If Kyle has a good car, I think his pit crew's been really, really good. Truex has a good pit crew. He has a good car, no doubt about that. A few adjustments here and there, but if Kyle's got a good car and no 200 lap tape on the grill or some reason like that, I'm going to say top 10 or top 5 for them too. That's kind of what I'm hoping. So hopefully I'm right this time around. Ford's last week, but I don't know.
Well, I think we're on the same wavelength for this weekend. I think we're both watching for those 2 Toyota drivers, Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. We will have to see what Sunday brings, and I think that's going to bring an end to this week's episode of Talkin Track. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you guys Monday after Martinsville.